What's up, boys? It's Steelers week. Oh, you're going
Hi,
beer.
guys.
What's up? Cheers, y'all. Happy Steelers week, guys. Welcome to week 11. God, it's we've said it the last couple of weeks, but it doesn't feel like it's week 11 already. I have no idea how fast or how this season has gone so goddamn fast. But welcome to the show again, Mr. Charlie Haley. We call him Chuck every now and then. He's our resident Steelers fan. If you guys don't know, Charlie played baseball at Millersville with my brother Brooks, who is a co-host of this podcast. Chuck, welcome.
And against each other at Monmouth and Mount St. Mary's.
Yeah. Chuck, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming back on, and thanks for helping us talk some Ravens Steelers this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on, guys. I guess I'm a recurring guest now, right?
Yeah. Now you're what you call a friend of the program.
Yeah.
As Pat McAfee likes to say.
Friend of the program.
You went from amateur status to veteran status.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And we will have live call-ins today. You guys might not know this, but I made the executive decision that we're going to have live call-ins today at the end of the show.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Joe Radke, I look forward to talking to you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being a fucking dictator, Brooks.
Sorry about the luck.
All right. It's all right. There's always been tyranny in this podcast. Let's before we talk about the games this coming weekend, let's talk about the game last night. Big battle for the first place in the NFC East. The Eagles pretty much dominated the whole game. I would say I watched the whole game, even though the Commanders were winning on the scoreboard most of the game. I would say, especially on time of possession and just how they were able to move the ball up and down the field, it felt like the Eagles were in control of the game the whole way. Dan Quinn made some questionable coaching decisions in the second half. What did you guys see from the game? What did you see in particular? Chuck, we'll let you start if you get to watch. Did you get to watch much of this game?
I watched some of it. I didn't watch the end of it, but I mean, it kind of comes down to it makes that Steelers win against the Commanders look a little less impressive last week. So, don't know. I mean, I think the Eagles. I hate to give them credit. I would have bet the Commanders last night, but I don't know. I mean, the Eagles are who they are. They're going to be there in the playoffs. I still don't think they're the team to beat in the NFC, but I also think the Commanders are a little bit away from competing with the Eagles for the division this year, maybe. So got my hopes up for that as a person that lived near Philly for a long time, that the Eagles will finally be dethroned, but I don't think that's going to happen after seeing last night. They just shut down McLaurin. Jaden Daniels has come back down to life a little bit once he's getting a little pressure in his face. So I don't know.
Yep.
Like I said,
I wonder how much that rib injury is actually affecting him, because he really hasn't been the same since.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Brian, you go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Brooks hit the nail on the head with that one. I mean, he does not look like a very healthy quarterback at this point. I think they're probably not given the full information on how hurt he really is with that rib. And then what I also took away from the game is Philly's first-round pick from last year, Quinyon Mitchell. Toledo. Shut down Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. It didn't seem like Daniels had much time to throw, and when he did, he was missing he missed a couple throws that I thought he could make. The pick with like 4 or 5 minutes left when they were down, I think it was like 16 or 12 at that point. I can't remember how much they were down, but it was 2 scores. The pick he threw to Reed Blankenship it was just a terrible throw. Like, you just can't make that throw, and that's a rookie making a bad decision in a big game. I'm interested. What did you guys? Do you think you learned more about the Commanders or the Eagles? Do you think the Eagles come off of this game as more of a playoff ready, like, good football team, or do you think we learned that the Commanders, or maybe we need to pump the brakes on the hype train? You guys, any of you can go.
I would say that we're learning more about the Eagles getting right here, because they started slow this season, and the last probably 3 games or so, maybe even more than that. Really since when Sirianni was shit talking his own fans leaving that game, they've been pretty dominant, to be honest with you. They look good. So I think we're learning about them, and they're starting to hit their stride a little bit, and their defense too. Vic Fangio over there doing a great job. Mm-hmm. Wonder why all the Miami DBs didn't want him in the locker room. Just makes no sense to me. But that one just fell into their lap. But yeah, and I think it's probably a little bit to do with like the Redskins with their offensive line.
Racist.
Yeah, very racist. Those commie bastards. What did Drew call them? The Skinanders.
Yeah.
But
I think that was Foy.
yeah, it was. I just think their offensive line isn't that great, and I think with Jaden Daniels not being fully healthy, it's just he's trying to carry the team and he can't.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think we'll learn more about the Eagles in the next couple of weeks. We got the Ravens in 2 weeks. They haven't really played many teams, right? They've been, trying to get themselves right. I mean, 2 teams that they played that I would think are legit teams, Bucks and the Falcons. They lost to them, right? And lost pretty handily to the Bucks. But once they play the Ravens in 2 weeks, we'll find out how good that defense really is for the Eagles. I think we learn more about the Commanders, that they're just not at that level yet. Which, I mean, first year head coach for them. Bunch of different moving parts. Jaden Daniels being a little hurt, rookie quarterback. I think we learned more about them than we did about the Eagles, because I'm still not sold on Jalen Hurts. I'm actually out on him. I'm not a big fan of what he does as a quarterback. So Saquon, it's his show. As long as he's healthy, the Eagles are going to make a run. Defense will be all right. But like I said, the true test comes here in December, because they're going to start playing some AFC North teams, right? Like the Steelers and the Ravens. So we'll find out how good they really are.
Yeah,
I think we found out more about the New York Giants. Now they're going to fire their coach and their GM because they gave Saquon Barkley to the Eagles and paid Daniel Jones. But neither here nor there with that one. After I make that stupid statement, I think we learned more about the Commanders. Dan Quinn, while a first-year coach, had questionable decisions when he was with Atlanta back in the day, and not taking the helm when some foolish calls would come down from either his offensive coordinator, Kyle Shanahan, or his defensive coordinator. I also think that you're beginning to learn rookie quarterbacks. While Jalen Daniels has been absolutely fantastic and is a stud for the foreseeable future if he stays healthy, this could be wear and tear of a college player who then gets thrust into the NFL and is probably getting a little tired. I mean, you can't think about his offseason, which really wasn't an offseason. You got to go to the combine. You got to go to OTAs. You got to go to rookie camps. He really didn't have an offseason. He's probably freaking exhausted, both mentally and physically. Not to mention he's got a rib problem.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I also, I think somebody said this on the broadcast last night. I don't know if it was Michael's, probably Herb Street said it. I mean, they really don't have much in terms of receiving depth outside of Terry McLaurin. I know Austin Eckler is a great security blanket out of the backfield, but I think you need other guys running routes from the side. I have a couple of things, by the way, or just on the Commanders' future. The next 3 games the Commanders play are against Dallas, Tennessee, and New Orleans. Wouldn't exactly call that a murderer's row. So if they're ever getting to a point where they can get right going later into the season, this is the stretch. I mean, they should beat all 3 of those teams. At absolute worst case scenario, they should win at least 2 of them, and that puts them at 9 wins. And then they only have to win 1 more game at the end of the year between Philly, Atlanta, and Dallas to finish, probably to make the playoffs in the NFC.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the Eagles schedule here. They got Rams, Ravens, Panthers, which should be an easy one, but then they got Steelers right after that. So 3 of their next 4 should be relatively tough if the Rams keep playing the way they have been.
Yeah. I think it's going to be tough for Jaden Daniels, especially not playing healthy, especially because he doesn't have as many weapons as we'd like. I thought their corner, I can't pronounce his name, but it's like Sandstrill or something like that. I think he's a rookie or a second-year guy. I think he played really well last night. He was covering A.J. Brown most of the night, Devontae Smith a couple times in the end zone. I like what I saw from him in the secondary. I think when they get Lattimore back, their secondary is going to be even better. But it just feels like this team's a year away. And it feels like the Houston team last year. They're exciting. They're fun. They have the rookie quarterback, but in the playoffs, I'm not super worried about them. Yeah, I mean, also Saquon is just ridiculous. Every time he touches the ball, it's an electric factory. Picktown wants us to bring this up, so let's just bring it up now. If you guys haven't seen this, Kevin Ostreicher, I think has how you pronounce his name. Kevin from Kevin and Zach React. Posted a clip on Twitter from the Joey Zena Anderson show, I believe. Earl Thomas at one point in the show references that he believes he was a better safety than both Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu. We are an anti-Earl Thomas show here because we think that guy's a complete lunatic, but he was a really great player. What do you guys think about these comments? And do we just think this guy's off the rails, or what's going on?
I'm going to be very quick here. How do you spell CTE?
Yeah.
That's
What is going on here? And he fell so quickly from grace in Baltimore as well. Like, I mean, he was good for a year, maybe 2. And then he got caught having threesomes and pulling guns on people. But I mean, he was always a little bit of an issue, and we took a flyer on him, picking him up from the Seahawks too, because I think he was a part of the dismantling of all that as well. But he, this has CTE written all over it.
I mean, just great, excellent player while he played, especially for the Seahawks. But even for the first season with the Ravens, he was a pretty good player for us.
Yeah.
I remember he had a couple picks, but I think the guy is just
it's out of his mind.
I don't know if it's CTE or I don't want to speculate, but it just doesn't seem like he's in his right state of mind or maybe this is the way he was the whole time and they were able to hide it in Seattle with all those personalities. But I don't know. He seems like he's kind of off the rails.
I remember the stories about like when things were going bad with him in Baltimore, him getting into fights with teammates and everything like that. And that was basically when they kind of drew the line and cut him. So, decent player. I would say a good player, but to sit there and say that you're even in the same conversation as either of those players is you're out of your goddamn mind.
Yeah. All right, let's move off of the game last night and move on to the games this weekend. Brooks, do you want to pull the DraftKings spreads up? One more note on the Eagles Commanders game while Brooks is doing that, while he's pulling this up. The NFC for me feels like kind of a picture of two teams and then the rest of the field. It feels like Detroit is here, Philly is kind of just below them, and then it's a bunch of everyone else. Do you guys feel the same way about the NFC, or am I alone there? I think Detroit is clearly the best team. I think the Eagles are clearly the second best team, or one of the better teams in the NFC, and then I think it's kind of a drop off after them. Chuck, let's go to you first because you're our guest.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Lions might be the best, the most complete team in the NFL. I know you hate to hear that as a Ravens fan, but
no.
I wouldn't disagree with you.
Disagree with you at all. It's tough to.
It's the Lions and everybody else in the NFC. Like I said, as long as the Eagles got Barkley, they're always going to be right up at the top. But I don't know. The NFC is going to be wide open once it gets to the playoffs. Honestly, I think AFC is more, that's loaded with some more heavyweights, which is kind of a flip from the past couple of years, but. I don't know. NFC just seems like it'll be a wide open race once we get there, even with the Lions, even though I think they're clearly the best team. I mean, when your quarterback's throwing 4 or 5 interceptions in a game and you're still winning, I mean, you got all the talent in the world, and I love Dan Campbell. So, and I think they'll learn a lot from last year with the Niners and how that thing played out. So hopefully they'll be ready, and I'd much rather see them than the Eagles advance. But I don't know. I was hoping the Vikings would kind of clean things up. If they don't get it right in Nashville this weekend, then that ship has sailed, I think. Darn.
Look, I mean,
did someone just fart? Did someone just fart?
It sounded like somebody farted.
I have no idea. Brooks?
I admit it. I always admit it. It's usually me. And it's usually me.
So
one thing I did want to bring up was that I forgot to bring up in the last podcast is last week dogs were 10-3 with 5 outright wins and 9-4, and it was in 9-4 unders hit. So that
9
is
9 out of 13 unders.
Yeah, unders were 9-4 and dogs were 10-3, and dogs had 5 outright wins. So
What that tells me is Vegas is trying
Vegas
to
is
get their
making
money
money.
back. The Vegas is trying to get the money back they lost in the beginning of the season because the favorites were hitting hard at the beginning of this season, and there was nothing you could do to stop them really. All the teams that were big favorites were kind of stomping on the bad teams, I think that tells us a lot about the league. But anyway, we're 15 minutes into our picks podcast, and we haven't made a pick yet, so let's go. Green Bay Packers at Chicago Bears. This line is 5. The over-under is 40.5. The Bears have not scored a touchdown in 23 straight offensive drives, and they just fired their offensive coordinator. Caleb Williams has been sacked a league-high 38 times. What do we have on this game as our graphic leaves us? But what do we have on this game, Brian? Let's go to you first.
Line I saw was 5.
Yeah.
I don't know how Matt Eberflus has a job. Packers, hard, heavy. Go.
Packers by 5. Brian, he doesn't have to explain himself because if you guys watch us, you know he is not a big Matt Eberflus guy.
no. I'm with Brian on this one. I think Packers need to get right game too. I think this could be it.
Chuck,
Go Pack, go.
go Pack, go.
I don't see any reason they don't blow Chicago out.
We're making this a team play. There's no way I'm betting on Chicago. They're on my do not bet list for the rest of the year. They absolutely stink. I don't even think Jordan Love has been very good. And I honestly, I don't know how you could think he's been very good. He's got the most interceptions in the NFL. And he hasn't even played a full season. But this Packers defense is going to eat Caleb Williams alive. Their offensive line in Chicago is abysmal.
I might change my pick just because we can't have a team play on the first pick. It's like birdie in the first hole in golf. You are doomed the rest of the round.
That's fine. You want to take the Bears? Go ahead. Be my guest. I'm not betting on that game.
It's your funeral.
If Matt Eberflus wasn't the coach, I'm totally changing my pick. But I got to stick with the Pack. But this is a terrible omen for the rest
of the team ride.
Hey, I'm hot. So
yeah. And now you're not going to be because you just talked about a heater.
Get on my back. Let's ride.
He's so hot. He's bright red like the tomato from VeggieTales. Let's go. Let's go to the next game. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Detroit Lions. This line is 13.5. The over-under is 47. It seems like Mac Jones is going to be playing for his second straight week. And I'll tell you what, it wasn't really that much fun watching Mac Jones play football last week. Brooks, let's go to you first. What do you have on this game?
Yeah, fucking 13.5, man. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with that's a lot of points. I've got no reason to think that Detroit doesn't beat them by 2 touchdowns, but that's a fuck ton of points. So just give me the Jags to cover, I guess. I don't love it, but I mean, I just can't, in good faith, take that.
I think that's fair. Brian, go ahead.
I'm going to back Brooks up on this one. That's a ton of points. They're still professional athletes. I'll take the Jags.
Much. They'll win by like 31.
Oh, without a doubt.
Chuck?
This feels like the Lions are good for a handful of these a year. They've already done it a couple of times. This feels like a 45-10 win for the Lions. I mean, they beat the shit out of some teams this year. Beat the Titans 52-14. They beat the Cowboys 47-9. They're going to put up a lot of points, and I think they win in a rout.
They could be pissed off about last week too.
Yeah. Go ahead.
If Chuck calls the score of 45-10, I think we got to like.
I want it on record.
Yeah, I think we got to mail him a bottle of bourbon or something. He hits 45-10 on the nose.
I was telling Dusty though, I'm on a huge cold streak though with every game I've been picking. So last night was a rough one too. So.
Just a couple notes on this game. 13.5 is the largest spread of any game in the NFL this season. Jacksonville has covered in 4 straight games, but has lost 3 in a row, straight up. And Detroit had a 6-game streak against the spread where they were covering, and that ended last week. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. It's a ton of points, but I'm going to go with Chuck here. I think the Lions blow them out. I don't have anything. If Trevor Lawrence was playing, this would be different. The line would be different, obviously, but I just don't see how the Jags are going to move the ball. Go Lions. They're the best team in the NFL. They'll take care of business. Next game is Minnesota, Tennessee. Is that what we got?
Yes.
Okay, Minnesota, Tennessee is the line is 6. The over/under is 39.5. Tennessee is 1-8 against the spread, and they have not covered in 5 weeks. Minnesota beat them last week 12-7. Didn't score any touchdowns and threw 3 picks. This offense is completely terrible. Calvin Ridley is the only guy on the offense. Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard are the only guys on the offense that are worth a damn, and everyone else is bad. I'm going to go ahead and take my pick here quick. I know it's in Tennessee, and I know Minnesota hasn't looked great, but Tennessee is terrible. Give me Minnesota. That defense is going to eat Will Levis, Mason Rudolph, whoever's playing alive. I don't even care who's playing quarterback. Give me Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings as well. I'm riding against. I'm just riding with the Tennessee is a 1-8 against the spread this year. So, and I think Vikings are due for a get right game as well. Because since they've been trending in the wrong direction, so this should be the one to do it if they're going to do it.
By the way, Hawkinson looked really good last week. 8 catches for 72 yards. It was his second game back from injury. So getting him back into the fold with Jefferson and Addison is going to be good. It's going to be a really good wrinkle for the Vikings offense.
Chuck, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, Vikings, I think they run away with this one. It's a get-right game for them. Got a few friends going down from Minnesota to the game, so hopefully they see a nice little blowout and get to celebrate down on Broadway a little bit for their birthday. So
That'd be fun.
everything screams Vikings in this one for me.
I'm gonna team ride this Vikings. And I want to bring this up to the group before we move on from this game. Is did we look at the news or see the news about JJ McCarthy having to have a second surgery for complications?
Yeah, I did see that, and I don't like it. I don't like it one bit if I'm a Vikings fan. I mean,
Did they say what the complications were? I just saw he was having a second surgery.
I was going to ask you guys. I didn't read too in depth into it. I just saw it across the ticker. I don't know if Dusty or Chuck has anything on this.
No, I mean, I saw the headline. Chuck, do you have any more information?
I'm looking it up right now. I honestly didn't see it. They're saying it's going to make them fitter, faster, and stronger, but I don't know what the hell that means. If you're ever having to open yourself back up again, I don't think that's.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is
Good
that they're
news.
clearing out like scar tissue or something like that. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
like if they're scoping it or something.
According to the article I'm reading, medical officials found no concerns, so there have been no changes to McCarthy's recovery table. They just felt like this surgery would help him improve, or I guess become closer to 100% than he would have otherwise. I don't know, but
Whatever.
it seems
He's
like
not-
his recovery table is not different. But I don't. These kind of things, I feel like they always say, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal," because they're trying to, make themselves look better as an organization. But it sucks.
I could understand. Like I said, I could understand if they're going in there to clean out scar tissue or something like that,
Yeah.
or whatever's going on. I can see that happening, but they usually say that when they do stuff like that. So, and he's got all the rest of this year and all off season, so he's got plenty of time.
Well, I can tell you nobody here in Minnesota is worried about it right now. So if I wasn't hearing about it around here, I don't think anybody's too concerned.
How long until Chuck says Minnesota?
Minnesota.
He's gonna just start getting that accent. Brian's on mute, but he's trying to talk. He always is.
Dusty, we were separated at birth, dude, because I was about to talk about the accent that Chuck doesn't have, but will develop soon. I mean, you're going to be like Brian Kelly, and you get an accent real fast. Or something.
Yeah, go Tigers.
Family.
I haven't
Down here,
perfected it yet, but it is funny out here. Anything I say, everybody, my 11-year-old sitting here giving me shit all the time for stuff I say because everybody in the Midwest talks different than everybody out east. And then when we take them out east, everything that he says out here is the complete opposite out there. So it's funny.
Yeah, where'd you learn how to speak English at?
Yeah,
I can notice it. You can notice it a little bit here in Indy every once in a while, but it's not as much as Minnesota. That's for sure.
Yeah.
My wife still has trouble saying Annapolis, so
And
you got it down now. But
Amanda claims that she doesn't have a Minnesota accent. Have her say a few words, and you get it right away.
Yeah.
maybe
hey,
for
Brooksy,
the
before we move on to another game, when are we having Joe call in? Because I want him to pick a game like he normally does for me. And
we're going to do call-ins at the end.
okay. Well, then, Joe, I'm going to let you pick the next game, which I'm assuming is the Raiders versus Dolphins.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Joe pick for me.
Yeah, Joe, if you're still watching, hopefully you are. Pick that game, and if not, we'll just have you pick one game later in the show. This game.
Said, "Oh, you want accents? Come on down here." He's
Arkansas.
Yeah. This game sucks. Raiders at Miami. Miami is favored by 7. I'll tell you what. Miami's defensive line looked like freaking world beaters on Monday night against the Rams because Matthew Stafford was running for his life. And he also he didn't play very well. The Rams didn't play very well as a whole, but Miami's defense really impressed me in that game. Yeah. I don't think they're going to have a problem with this Raiders team. I'm not putting any money on Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell or whoever the hell is throwing the ball for them now. I mean, I literally probably couldn't name you 5 guys on this roster, and I watch every game every week. Give me the Miami Dolphins -7. And I mean, I think they could kick. I think any team could beat this Raiders team by 20.
Well, you guys know my pick by Joe. Joe's taking the Dolphins for me.
Joe's taking the Dolphins.
Yeah, and did Joe win the game he picked for me last week?
No, he lost. He picked the Giants for you.
The Giants.
Joe, you're 0-2, my man. We got to figure this out. That's strike 2. If you go over 3,
he's only picked one. He picked one in your snake draft too, though.
That's right.
That's what you're thinking of. He picked one of your snake draft ones,
which I also lost. So
Chuck, what do you?
Still over 2.
What do you think about Dolphins Raiders? You really excited about this one, the Richie Incognito Bowl?
Wow. There's a fucking name.
I might actually watch this game instead of the Steelers-Ravens game. That's how good this game's going to be. So,
I know you're more pumped for this one.
Yeah. The rivalry here is unreal. Give me the Dolphins. It actually scares me that I see them making a run here late and becoming the 7th seed in the AFC somehow, some way.
I like it.
But then again, it's the Dolphins in the playoffs, and we know how that goes. So
yeah, it's too cold for them.
Yeah, but they could be good spoilers at the end of the year for some teams. I don't know. Dolphins, like you said, Raiders. No, I'm out on them. They're going to be at the top of the draft board next year. So give me Dolphins in South Beach.
Yeah.
We're fucked, guys. He's team riding it. We're screwed.
What did Vegas do last week?
They were on a bye.
Shit.
And the Dolphins played on Monday night, so rest advantage heavy in favor of Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta go Dolphins here.
For the 16 people watching, please bet the opposite of what the fuck we're doing, because all the shit we're touching is going to turn to absolute ash. This is not a good thing.
Also, our parlay last night wasn't great either. So
I was great.
One leg of it was great.
I picked a good prop, and you guys picked the good side. So we kind of all split.
I'm trying to think here. Like Dustin said with Minshew and O'Connell, I can't bet on them to throw the ball. And we all know they suck at running the ball. And Miami's defense has looked great. So how the hell are they supposed to score in this game? So
that's the recipe for success, I think.
I just
Vegas Raiders.
I know. I just don't see it. So yeah, give me Miami and hope maybe they're trending in the right direction because they're fun to watch when they're running good. So.
All right, next game we'll move on. Indianapolis versus the New York Jets, and Anthony Richardson is starting in this game. God, what a complete disaster at the quarterback position this game is going to be. I don't have faith in either of these teams, really. After starting the year 7-1 against the spread, the Colts have failed to cover in their last 2. Joe Flacco has gotten benched. What do we think about this game? Bry, Brooks, Charlie, in that order. What do we got?
I think this is a travesty for the NFL in regards to the shit games of the Vegas Raiders and Dolphins and the Colts versus the Jets.
Yeah.
I am so absolutely against Aaron Rodgers, and I can't believe I'm about to take backflip boy Anthony Richardson. Give me Anthony Richardson. Give me the Colts. Give me the horsies. Let's go,
boy.
The horsies. Yeah, I don't even know where to go with this one.
Well,
What do we think about this line? -4? Do we think the Jets should be favored by 4 over any team in the NFL?
I don't. Maybe Carolina.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't. I don't know.
This is tough.
Yeah, give me the horsies.
All right. Brooks is taking his local team, the Indianapolis Colts. Chuck, what do you got?
Give me the Jets.
All
I
right.
don't know. I mean, going back and forth on your quarterbacks, I think the Colts. I don't know. This is just an ugly game all around. I think the Jets get it right here. They're a dumpster fire, which is crazy to say, but give me the Jets at home.
I think
Uh,
the
The
bye
funny
week
thing
wins.
is,
The bye week everyone.
they could still make the playoffs, which is nuts.
Who's
It's-
that? The Jets?
Yeah. Well, both
Yeah.
of them, really.
the
Well, Colts are
AFC,
sitting.
the
they're
bottom
sitting in
half
the
of the
playoffs,
AFC is not good.
No.
It's not good at all. I'm gonna actually sticking with Chuck here. I'm gonna take the Jets. I don't know why, and I don't have a reason. So that's my analysis, my expert analysis on this game. I'm just gonna take the Jets, and I'm not gonna give you any insight why.
Thank you, Dusty Dusterson. That was very insightful. I really like that. The team that scores more points will win the game.
All right. Rams Pats is the next game. Rams traveling across the country to play at New England Patriots on a 1:00 game. Oh god.
Look at these games.
Ugh.
Look at these games. Rams,
dude.
Patriots, Browns, Saints. This is
Dude.
shit.
Dude, Brian, there's some good ones. Just wait.
I'm waiting.
Just wait. Rams Patriots, line is 4.5, over under is 43.5. Personally, I don't have I have no clue how this game gets to 43.5 points. If I'm a gambling man, which I am, I'm going to be hammering the under. I think both of these offenses I think the Patriots are bad. I think the Rams have had their moments, but last week the Rams offense looked absolutely abysmal. The Rams defense is actually really good. Jared Verse is going to run away with defensive rookie of the year. That guy is a stud.
Yeah.
Out of Florida State, I believe. I mean, what do you guys have on this game? I don't have initial thoughts. Chuck, let's go to you first. Let's change it up.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the fact that the Rams are coming on a short week over to the East Coast at 1:00, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the Rams win this game. I think McVay has to kind of get stuff right on the offense, and give me the Rams. Can't really trust the Patriots. Is it true that they're talking about Mayo might be out after 1 year in New England, or what's the deal with that?
That can't be real.
That can't be real, right?
I think Kraft actually, Belichick and Kraft kind of handpicked Mayo, so I would imagine he's got a longer leash than some of these other guys. But I'm
saw
sure
something pop up on that. I was like, that can't
stuff.
be real.
But
Yeah.
and also,
Clickbait.
coming
That's
into the
clickbait
season,
bullshit.
everyone knew the Patriots had no good personnel on the offensive line, no good personnel on the defense. Like it's not his fault. And Drake May's been not that bad.
And they're actually
So,
playing a little bit like kind of decent right now. I don't think they're playing like terrible. I don't think they're
they're not the worst team in the league.
yeah.
Right.
And that's why I'm going to take the Patriots. I think they're actually starting to gain some steam. I'm not going to act like they're going to make the playoffs and be world beaters, but I'm going to take the Patriots in this one. I just think stuff's starting to come together. I'm going to go along with Dusty, going coming from the left coast to the East Coast. That plays a factor, as we've seen over the course of my time watching football. Give me the Pates.
Yeah, and they're playing at 1:00 too, so that's like even earlier for them. So yeah, I'm gonna take New England to cover.
All right. That's
Can't-
two straight
they can't
games.
play
where
the
me and
Bears
Chuck
every
are on
week,
the same
guys.
page. Yeah,
They
that's
can't
true.
play the Bears every week.
True. True.
Yeah, this is if the Rams go in there and stomp the Pats, it's going to make the Bears look even worse. Here's another world beater game. The Jameis Winston led Cleveland Browns are going to the New Orleans Saints. The Rizzler is the new coach for the New Orleans Saints. What's his face? Rizzy? Is that his name?
Rizzy.
Yeah, the Rizzler.
That dude could have run through a fucking brick wall after they won that game the other day. He was smacking
it.
everyone on the helmet. I think he actually went up to like a 6'8" guy, was like beating him on the shoulders. I'm like, this guy is fucking awesome. So I'm taking the Saints because that guy might actually go on the field and tackle Jameis Winston.
Look at that. He's taking the Saints at home, -1 against the Browns. Chuck, what do you got on this one?
Give me the Saints. I think Cleveland's looking ahead to Thursday night. They got a big game with the Steelers this Thursday at home. Give me the Saints.
All right.
Fuck yeah, I'm riding with the Saints too.
Look at that. You guys are all riding the Saints. I think the Saints suck. I think they're terrible. I think they had one good game. I don't think the Browns are good either, but they're a better team with Jameis than they were with Deshaun Watson. And I think the Saints are going to go back to their losing ways. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns, and I'm going to be alone here, riding solo. And usually when that happens, I lose. So
Trying to
did anyone watch the Saints game last week?
yeah, I watched almost the whole game. It was one of the worst football games I've ever seen Kirk Cousins or any quarterback play for that matter.
It was absolutely terrible. And if the Saints would have lost that game, Alvin Kamara should have been absolutely reprimanded by the league for dropping that pass that I think actually hit him in the belly button.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. And Alvin Kamara is such a great player.
Yeah.
Holy shit. They're destined to lose this game.
He does everything for that team. He is
Alvin Kamara the best Saint of all time?
No, Drew Brees.
Oh yeah, Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
I guess other than quarterback.
I forgot about Drew Brees. That was stupid.
He's right there with Cam Jordan, who is a fantastic defensive player.
What about former Hofstra alum Marcus Colston?
What about Ricky Williams?
What about Deuce McAllister? We got all kinds of guys here. Archie Manning,
Joe Horn,
Aaron Brooks.
Joe Horn and Aaron Brooks. That was a tandem.
That was a tandem. It wasn't necessarily a great tandem, but it was a tandem.
I'm going Bobby Hebert as the best player for the Saints of all time.
All right. I mean, I think you could put in Demario Davis. I think you could put in Marshawn Lattimore, maybe the Honey Badger. There's a lot of good players. Anyway, next game. Big NFC West game. Really, any NFC West divisional game is a big game because all these teams are so close in the standings, and all these teams they're kind of frisky. Mark Ingram too. I like that.
That's a great call. Great call, man.
Let's go to the next game is like I said, NFC West, Seahawks at 49ers. The line is 6.5. The over-under is 48. Let's just go to one of you guys. It looks like DK Metcalf is probably going to be playing in this game after he's missed the last two. He's a game time decision, but he's trending towards playing based on everything I've heard this week. Brian, you got something to say immediately on this game? What do you got?
No, Dusty, why don't you go first this time? I don't think you've gone first at all. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Look, I think the Niners are getting right. I think they're getting healthy. I actually really, before the season, I really, really like the Seahawks as a frisky NFC team. But Kyle Shanahan owns the Seahawks. And I just don't I just don't think I can bet against them. And I honestly, I don't think San Francisco is as good as they've been in past years, but I can't trust this Seattle team. They've let me down too many times. I'm going to take San Francisco, and that 6.5 is scary. I'm 50-50 on this game. I might flip-flop by Sunday, but right now I'm taking the Niners.
Yeah, give me the Niners as well. I'm with you. I feel like I keep betting the Seahawks. I think they're going to cover. I think they're going to win, but it's just they just have to. So give me the Niners.
Yeah.
Put me in for the Niners as well.
Look at that.
Yeah, Seahawks are trending in the wrong direction. As long as Deebo Samuel doesn't kill every single person on the special teams unit for the Niners, then I think the Niners are going to win at home.
What the fuck was that?
I have no idea. I don't know what was worse, that or his outfit walking into the stadium. Did you see his outfit?
Oh, it was all leather. He looked great.
He was wearing leather Daisy Dukes.
Yeah.
It was wild. Brian, have you seen this yet?
No.
You need to look it up.
It would be a really sweaty outfit for any of us to wear. But yeah, I mean, at least his shorts would breathe a little bit more than leather pants. But honestly, I mean, we talked about this on Monday's pod. Yeah, Deebo yelling at the kicker because he missed his second or third kick of the game, and the long snapper tries to set in and defend the kicker, and Deebo just grabs him by the throat and says, "Get the fuck out of here." Terrible teammate moment for Deebo. Bad look, I would say. And honestly, Brian said he lost respect for Deebo. I don't know if I'll go that far, but honestly, I think about him differently than I did before. And I just traded for him in our fantasy football league. Brooks got that.
Did he finally send it through?
Yeah, he got that thorn out of his side. And there was some controversy about that. But with their brothers trading in a fantasy football league, it's always going to be weird. But anyway, we'll get off.
Sounds like collusion to me.
It does sound like collusion, and it probably is. Yeah. Anyway, we're all riding San Francisco here. That means it's probably a good time to take the Seahawks if you're betting on this game.
6.5 is a lot for a division.
And like I said, with DK Metcalf coming back, their offense is completely different. Jackson Smith and Jigba had a great game the last time they played, and the Seahawks are coming off a bye. This is I'm going to flip-flop on this game a couple of times, but I'm going to stick with San Francisco. Let's go to the next game, Atlanta versus Denver. I think this is like if there are exactly the middle two teams, like the most average teams in the NFL, according to me, it would be these two teams. I think I'm not excited by either of these teams. They're probably both going to make the playoffs, but I'm not worried about any of these teams as a Ravens fan playing them. I'm not a huge Bo Nix guy. I think Kirk Cousins can be a world beater or he can look terrible. He's wildly inconsistent. I'm going to go first here again. I'm just going to take Denver. I think their defense is going to completely stop the Atlanta offense. And I'm on the Bo Nix apology tour at this point. I thought he was going to suck, and he's been pretty good. And I can't keep saying he sucks when he's not sucking. So after whoever wants to go ahead. I'm taking the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm going to take Atlanta. I think they got to figure it out at some point, and I think they can flat out beat Denver. So give me Atlanta to win.
Yeah, I'm riding with Brooks on this one. I need a big week out of Bijan in my fantasy league, so I'm going to hope that he's running wild up in the altitude there. So give me the Falcons.
Dusty?
I already did it.
Bo Nix has the shortest name of any quarterback in the history of the NFL. So that is my methodology for why I'm taking the fucking Broncos. Let's ride.
Hell yeah. I like it. I think it's gotten a little lost because the last 2 weeks the Denver Broncos have played Kansas City and Baltimore, who are two really, really potent offenses. And honestly, the Denver defense did a really good job against Kansas City last week, but Denver's still got one of the very best defenses in the NFL. And I think that's really going to show up. I think that's going to show up. Yeah.
I went to the Steelers-Broncos game out in Denver this year, and when they were announcing the defense, I looked at Amanda. I was like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, if I don't know these guys' names, it's pretty wild because I know a lot of players in the NFL, and I was like, who the fuck are these guys? Yeah. And their defensive unit's actually pretty legit. So, it's a good road test for the Falcons late in the year to, try to get themselves righted. But, yeah, it is wild to see Denver having that much success. But,
yeah, great job by what's his name? Vance Joseph over there, former coach of the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's do it. What's that?
Yeah. Was he on the Chargers staff at one point? Did he get hired to the Broncos from the Chargers?
I don't know. I just know he's former head coach of the Broncos as well.
Yeah, he definitely is. You're right.
But yeah, I don't know where he was at before. But yeah, I just got to give him credit because like Chuck said, I don't know anybody on that defense either, really. It seems like there's no stars, right?
Surtain.
Yeah, right. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, it's just no names and cast-offs. They're playing great though.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
All right, next game. This is probably the game of the day, if not the game of the year, I would say. Other than Ravens Chiefs in week 1, this is probably the game that we'll learn the most about the top teams in the NFL, especially in the AFC. Kansas City at Buffalo Bills. Buffalo is favored by 2 over the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs, and we all know how Mahomes does as an underdog. He's 11-3 straight up, and he's 12-1 against the spread. He absolutely kicks ass when he is an underdog. When there are big games and big moments, Patrick Mahomes steps up. Josh Allen, I think, in the Bills edged them out. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I remember Patrick Mahomes was pissed off because they did like a little slant to Kelsey, and he lateraled it to somebody else, and they scored, and they called illegal formation. And Mahomes was screaming at Josh Allen as they went off the field about how the call was bullshit and how he didn't actually lose the game, which made me think Mahomes was a complete piece of shit loser for the rest of my life. Gave me the ick permanently, as they say. What do we think about this? Let's just go to you guys. I have a lean here, but I'm interested in seeing if you guys can sway me. Brian, let's go to you first. I'm looking at you. You look like you got a salmon hat on there.
It is magenta, and I absolutely have no idea what the hell you just said about the shit from last year, because it has absolutely nothing to do with this game this Sunday.
It doesn't. I hate Mahomes, and I wanted to make sure everyone knew that Mahomes is a bitch.
Okay. So on that note, this is absolutely trash talk, by the way. I actually think, and I'll throw this comment out to the crowd, and you guys can roast me if you want. I honestly think that the damn Chiefs offense is boring, and I don't think I've ever said that since Mahomes became the quarterback there. They really don't seem like they have a rhythm. I mean, I could bet you 9 out of 10 times they have a 3rd and 6 or third and long. The ball's going to Kelsey. Give me the fucking Buffalo Bills. I'm going to watch this game from a folding table, like sitting on it. So I'm taking the Bills. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll ride with you. I'm on the Bills here too. And this is strictly eye test. I know the Chiefs record this year. I know Mahomes' record against the Bills. I know Mahomes' record when he's not favored. You can throw all those at me. Strictly eye test right now. I think the Bills win this game, and they're at home. That stadium is probably going to be rocking, I would assume, with the Chiefs coming to town, because we all know that's kind of the new AFC big rivalry. Yeah, I agree with you, Joe.
I'm 100%.
I think we've said this multiple times. Yes, they're 9 or 10-0, whatever they are. The eye test just isn't there for me right now. And I love that they're winning games and they know how to win and they're figuring out ways to win, which scares me. But yeah, I'm rolling with my eyes on this one. Give me the Bills.
Yeah.
Chuck?
First of all, I gotta let Joe know that's a great call, but they're the second most boring undefeated team ever.
The Steelers with the dead Ben Roethlisberger when they lost to Washington. Yeah.
When they were 11-0 and then lost the last 6 games, including that shit game to the Browns in the playoffs. They were probably the biggest frauds ever when the Steelers were 11-0 that year.
And Joe, this is why Chuck's phenomenal for this podcast, because he just shit on his own team.
Yeah, so they deserve to get shit talked when they play like shit. So yes, yeah. I try not to be biased, but this whole week I've been thinking the Bills. I can't, usually you can't bet against Mahomes, but especially when they're getting 2 points. But I got to take the Bills. It's gonna be unseasonably warm there. It's gonna be in like the mid 50s, which is wild, but. Yeah, give me the Bills. I like Josh Allen more than Mahomes.
Is global warming?
That's my logic.
Is global warming going to hurt any other team more than the Buffalo Bills and the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, I guess those outdoor teams. Yeah, in the playoffs. Right now, it's not going to hurt them. I can't believe I'm the only one taking Patrick Mahomes, who has a 12-1 record, as an underdog against the spread.
But I'm talking all that shit on him.
Yeah, I hate him. I can't stand him, but he's inevitable. It's like Tom Brady for 20 years. I hated him. I didn't want him to win any games, but if there was a 3rd and 6 late in the game, or if they needed a 2-minute drive, they're going to get it. It doesn't matter how they get it or what happens. Like last week, they blocked a field goal. Mahomes wasn't even on the field. It's like there's magic around the team, and I'm not betting against it, and I hate it. But it's just there, and it sucks.
You just said you wouldn't invite them to your lunch table if you were still in grade school. I mean, are you kidding me? Now you're going to take them? Their defense is really good, but man, you're a piece of work today, man.
Look, Amari Cooper's supposed to be back. Keon Coleman's probably not going to play. He didn't play. Neither of them played last week, and Khalil Shakir looked good. Dalton Kincaid went out with an injury. I want the Buffalo Bills to win this game desperately because I love Josh Allen, and I want him to make a statement. And I completely dislike Mahomes, and everyone knows that if you're listening to this podcast. But look, their record speaks for itself. I can't bet against them until they prove otherwise. Let's move on to Sunday night. Sunday night football. Cincinnati Bengals at Los Angeles Chargers. two teams who I think we would have probably thought differently of at the beginning of the season than we do now. Cincinnati, obviously, offensively still looks like one of the better teams in the NFL, but defensively they look horrible. Los Angeles, one of the better defenses in the NFL. Ground and pound, running the ball, even though they got Justin Herbert the last couple of weeks. Ladd McConkey's been breaking out a little bit. Quentin Johnston from TCU, who we thought was going to be dead on arrival last year, has been playing pretty well this season for them. I think this is the right line at 1.5 for the Chargers at home, but I think this is going to be mostly Cincinnati fans because the Chargers have the worst home field advantage. I would say they have a home field disadvantage. And I'm going to take Cincinnati. I like Jim Harbaugh and I like what he's doing with the Chargers, but I think especially if they get T. Higgins back, I think the Bengals are going to be able to put up 35, 40 points, and I just don't think the Chargers can.
Oh, I don't like this game at all. But yeah, give me the Chargers. Give me the Chargers. I think they're playing good right now. And I don't think they've reached their full potential yet. So I'll ride with them. I just don't want to pick the Bengals right now.
Mama said never bet against a guy named Ladd McConkey. Give me the McConkeys.
When did Mama say that?
Last week.
Oh, okay.
Mama Roger.
Give me
Chucky
the Chargers.
Finster, what do you got?
Give me the Chargers in an ugly game. Bengals can't really. Well, I'm not gonna say the Bengals can't stop the run, but they're in the bottom half of the league and stopping the run. Let the Chargers win an ugly game, 23-17, something like that. A couple rushing touchdowns. Turn the Bengals over once or twice. Get after Joe Burrow. Give me the Chargers.
Chargers defense is like top 5 right now, aren't they?
Yeah,
they get a lot of turnovers. They get a lot of turnovers. They get a lot of sacks. So if they can get after Burrow a little bit, turn him over. I think just win an ugly Jim Harbaugh game. That's what I'm hoping for at least. This
is a Jim Harbaugh rock fight, and this is just the MO of Jim Harbaugh going all the way back to his time at San Diego State. San Diego. Every time he takes over a team, it takes a little bit of time to get that engine revved up. But once it gets going, you just see it's old school football. They're going to absolutely beat the living hell out of you physically. They don't give a damn how fast you are. It's kind of hard to run when you're on your ass. So that's why I'm taking the Chargers. Not the Fighting McConkeys, but I'm taking the Chargers. And I still love the McConkey name. It's one of the best names in sports.
Oh, yeah.
Brooks, have to throw this in there real quick because Brian just called out Harbaugh coaching at San Diego.
Yeah.
Guess where the fuck Jim Harbaugh coached a bowl game, a bullshit bowl game for the FCS in 2006, 2007 with San Diego. They didn't make the playoffs that year. He brought his team out to Monmouth, and they played Monmouth. San Diego versus Monmouth. Jim Harbaugh was coaching in that game. No, this is a year or two after Miles Austin. It was my freshman year. They played him. I didn't even go to the bowl game because I was home for Christmas break. And then a couple years later, Harbaugh's, coaching in a freaking Super Bowl. So
yeah,
it's wild.
What was the size difference of the players? You weren't there, I guess, unless you.
I wasn't there. I mean, how Mama's team. I mean, they had Miles Austin, but other than that, it's like the stadium looks like a high school stadium. And for Harbaugh to fly his kids out there, it was just wild. The fact that Jim Harbaugh went from there to going on to all the success in coaching is just wild, right? You would have never thought of that back in 2006, 2007.
He is such an acquired taste, and he wears out his welcome within 4 or 5 years. But I mean, hey, he's had success.
Yeah.
I think it's just wearing out his welcome with the ownership and probably the GM. Maybe not even ownership, but the GM.
He's just a weird guy. He's just really a weird guy.
I just loves football. He just loves ball.
Yeah.
Remember in the preseason when Justin Herbert got stuck on an elevator and he was like, God, I wish I could have been there with him. And then the reporter's like, you wish you could have been stuck on the elevator? And he's yeah, dude, I just really wanted to see how you responded in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, he was like, Justin Herbert's gonna be the first guy to pick a pea corner in the freaking elevator that's stuck. I mean, but Harbaugh is just a different kind of dude, but it works. And if it works in the NFL, and it has been proven that it works in the NFL and in college, you got to ride with the Chargers on this stuff. And I really think the Chargers are a sneaky Super Bowl pick for next year.
He's a leader, man. His players love him. So,
all right. Last game of the week before we talk about our game. is the Monday Night Football game, which everyone's super excited to watch. The Battle of Texas. Houston Texans versus the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott is out for the season. The Cowboys are getting 7.5 points at home against the Houston Texans, who have been kind of faltering of late. Cooper Rush threw the ball like 25 times for like 50 yards last week. It was one of the worst performances I've ever seen by a quarterback in the National Football League. It looked like high school shit. It was honestly, it was abysmal. They're not going to have curtains, but they're not going to need them because this game is at 8:15 p.m. What do we think about this game? Brooks, let's go to you first, and then Brian, and then Chuck, and then I'll round it out.
I think Houston blows them out.
There you go.
That's all I got. I mean, there's just too much shit coming out of Dallas right now. And I honestly think McCarthy's handling it pretty well in terms of keeping us cool and not saying stupid shit in the press and trying to keep stuff behind closed doors and handling shit behind closed doors. It's this fucking team that's coming out and saying shit. So, yeah, I there's too much turmoil there. Give me the Texans, and I think they blow them out, and I think the Texans can get right here a little bit.
I agree with Brooks in terms of Mike McCarthy, while not a very good coach the last couple of years, is eating a lot of shit right now.
Is he not a good coach, winning 12 games the last 2 years?
He makes terrible in-game decisions and gets bailed out by the massive amount of awesome talent they have that is now overpaid and is going to fucking be a detriment to the team for the next 3 or 4 years. The only way the Dallas Cowboys win this game is if Mike McCarthy actually eats the entire bag of footballs, because there is no way. That is a dumpster fire of a team. And they started with this stupid shit about how they felt like, caged animals with all these like Dallas Cowboy tours while they're working out, and then they're in team meetings. People are tapping on the glass. There's been tension between Dak and CeeDee Lamb. Cooper Rush looked awful. And if you're putting your bet on Trey Lance, good luck, sir. So it's the Houston Texans all day.
Yeah, I mean, this has to be a low point for the Cowboys. They're essentially a double-digit underdog at home, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that, we're in week 11, their season's done. I get Dak's out, but there hasn't been more of a joke of an organization in the last 20 years than the Cowboys. And I just hate the fact that national media loves them. I hope they get embarrassed on live TV, national TV again. And I apologize. I got dogs fighting behind me. Sorry about that.
You're all good. To Chuck's point, it is so disgusting that ESPN consistently has to put the Cowboys up there, even if they're absolutely terrible. Just like when the Lakers are terrible. It's always about the Lakers, about the Cowboys. You got to talk about them in some capacity. Yeah. It's just trash clickbait TV. I cannot stand it. And, I mean, once again, more turmoil. Jerry Jones threatening radio hosts. I mean, the wheels have come off, if there ever were wheels this season on this train, on this car.
I feel like they come off every year, though. Like, and it's the same story every fucking year. Everybody's like, oh, it's the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys. And then it's like, it's the same shit every year. By this time of the year,
yeah,
it's just a circus down there.
They got jobbed one.
Somebody put a 10 on it.
They got jobbed the 1 year with the Des Bryant thing in Green Bay. I'll give them credit where credit is due. That was a good team, and that was Tony Romo's last year. Other than that, it's been absolute trash.
Yeah, and all the Steelers fans are kicking themselves in the ass for that loss. The Cowboys looks terrible now.
Oh yeah,
with how the season has gone.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Ravens loss against the Raiders doesn't look much better.
I get that, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't think they've been. I just think this year has been trash in general. But like before that, I mean, they've been a pretty damn good team since McCarthy's been there, to be honest with you. And they have a playoff win now, which they haven't had in a long time. I forget who they beat. Or no, they lost to San Francisco twice. Or Green Bay. Green Bay last year, and then the year before was San Francisco, I believe. One or the other.
And I get what you're saying with their records and being decent, but McCarthy just doesn't look like he has any control of can't hold the reins to
this year.
And look, I get it. The record looks good, but it almost feels like a fake record. Almost like I'm going to say about the Steelers a little bit here is I don't think it's sustainable. The Cowboys in those years didn't seem sustainable. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm right because revisionist history is a beautiful thing to have, but I just don't see it. And McCarthy's going to lose his job this year or after this year.
He's not going to lose it. He's just not going to get it back.
And ESPN can shut their fucking yappers about making Deion Sanders the coach of the fucking Dallas Cowboys. Are you fisting me with that?
Yeah. I think Dallas. I don't know. You can't be like one of the top 5 teams offensively in the league the last couple of years and go to this and also say that they're a bad team. And Dak probably should have been in the conversation for MVP last year with his stats. So I can't sit here and say that Mike McCarthy's a bad coach or he's the reason why things are going downhill right now. Just can't. So,
yep. I don't know if I picked, but I'm taking Houston as well. This is going to be a team ride. I'm sick of backing this Dallas team. I think 7.5 is a lot. I don't think Houston has been very good. I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas covers, but Houston's going to win this game for sure. It's 7 now. Yeah. Well, we have 7.5 written down. You guys have already taken it. We're all going to take Houston at 7. Whatever. We'll change it to 7 because it's 7 while we're doing the podcast. But either way, I'm taking Houston. It's not going to change my pick. The Dallas is just terrible, and I'm sick of that team.
Same.
And
the game we've all been waiting for.
Yeah, game we've all been waiting for. We're an hour in, and we're finally going to talk about this game. We'll talk a little bit in depth about this game. Ravens Steelers. It's 3.5 now. It was 3 earlier. Over under is 48.5, which I would say is unreasonably high for a Ravens Steelers game. But honestly, based on the numbers this year, it kind of makes sense. Chuck, we'll let you go first. You don't have to make your pick yet or anything. Let's just talk about the game. What are you expecting? What have you seen out of the Steelers the last couple of weeks? What do you like about them? What do you dislike about them? How do you think they match up against this Ravens team?
And what's your blood
type? Sad thing is I don't even know my blood type. Is that bad?
Actually, I don't either.
Yeah. Hopefully I don't need to know it anytime soon. This game, it's crazy. You talk about it, right, with the over under, and I think a lot of people in Pittsburgh are expecting an actual shootout. What I've seen early return from Russell Wilson, he's not going to have stats that jump off the charts. He's not going to play like Lamar and put up MVP stats. But the fact that they actually have a competent quarterback, right? This is something they haven't had even like the last couple of years of Ben's career. They didn't have this, and they finally have it. Like I said, it's only 3 games, but the excitement's there that makes them actually a legit contender now compared to for years. And once again, they can never be a contender until they start winning some playoff games. And everybody in Pittsburgh, that's the story that we're going to tell for the last decade is right. Doesn't really matter what the hell you do in the regular season when you're consistently getting blown out in the playoffs. People are getting tired of it. But this year it feels different with Russ. It feels like, they actually can win shootouts, right? Before these would be rock fights, 16-13, 13-10. I can see both teams scoring in the 20s and potentially 30s, just depending on, how it plays out. I think good weather. Steelers are going to try to throw the ball around because the Ravens' run defense is probably the best in the league, or one of the best in the league. Obviously, your issues with the back end. Lamar is going to do what Lamar does, and I think at some point the narrative's going to stop with. If you look at his stats against the Steelers' career, it's brutal.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah,
it's not good. A lot of turnovers,
7 picks.
Yeah, and everybody's kind of waiting for that one game where that stat line and that whole narrative goes out the window. So
I think he's got a 35 QBR against them or something like that.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was at the game last year and everybody was like, "Well, there's a couple drops here and there," but there were some terrible decisions, some terrible throws, like his pick to Porter in the end zone. So it's a little bit of both, but. Yeah. I don't know. At the end of the day, these are Steelers-Ravens games. It's going to be close. There's not going to be a blowout on either side, I don't think. Hell, you look at the stats and they talk about how close over the last 20 years or whatever, what the scores have been and the records have been. So I expect a game to come down to the wire, and, I think it's going to be high scoring. I don't think it's going to be a traditional game.
But I agree with you on that one. I want to, Chuck, I want to pepper you with a couple questions over the course of the next couple minutes. Not to put you on the spot, but
I might not have all the answers, but I'll try.
outside of TJ Watt, just see your opinion. Outside of TJ Watt, what else has really impressed you? What player has impressed you with the Steelers this season?
So I know you guys hate to hear this, but Patrick Queen actually the last couple of weeks and last week he was all over the field. He looked good, right? I know you guys are saying that without Roquan Smith, he hasn't been the same. I think both of them have struggled a little bit early, right? But Patrick Queen is, kind of coming into his element. But honestly, Deshaun Elliott, I don't know if you've had a chance to watch him play much with the
Former
Steelers.
Ravens great.
I know. And did you see what he came out and said about the Dolphins last year?
No, I did not.
Because he was talking about it on a podcast this week.
Are you killing a dog at your house currently, by the way?
No, my dog is like, he has to shit, I think, and he's at the front door. My wife's on a meeting in the office, so I'm out in the kitchen. But Deshaun Elliott, I know, obviously playing with the Ravens before, so they were talking about his time with the Dolphins last year, playing the Ravens, and he's like, he literally called the Dolphins team soft as shit last year. He's like, I have a bunch of guys that were so soft, so he's like, it wasn't the same as what it's going to be. He's like, I've been on the Ravens side, now I'll be on the Steelers side, but he's been a sure-handed tackler. He's kind of, been way better. The return's been way better than, they thought. He was an under-the-radar signing. Nick Herbig comes back this week. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch him play much. Highsmith's out for a while.
I was going to say, what's going on with him? Because he's been good.
It wasn't a break. As soon as it happened, everybody thought that he was done for a while. Thought he broke his ankle.
Yeah, it didn't look good.
Yeah, he's in a walking boot. He'll be out a couple of weeks, but Herbig comes back. They got Preston Smith now. They got a rookie linebacker named Peyton Wilson. He's going to probably play a lot more this week, depending on what the Ravens come out in. I don't know. I mean, they kind of switch back and forth. I think the Ravens, if they run a lot, Landon Roberts would be in there, but I don't know. Deshaun Elliott's been the surprise on their defense. It's great to see him back there. I'm a University of Texas fan, so I've been watching him for a long time, liked it with the Ravens.
Yeah.
It's been solid. He's been solid. Minka really hasn't done too much this year, but, he's always capable of making those splash plays. I just think overall it's a solid unit, and they have depth. Got Cam Sutton back last week, so they got depth all across the board. They got playmakers at every level. It just comes down to making those plays when they need to. And so far this year, they've been able to do it. We'll see if it is sustainable now that they get into the meat of the schedule with 6 division games and then the Eagles and Chiefs. So they got to stay healthy. And I mean, Watts too. He's kind of been quiet the last couple of weeks. So the hope is that he gets after Lamar a little bit this week. So.
He usually does.
That's brutal. 6 games against the division, and the other 2 are against the Chiefs and the Eagles. That's a murderer's row.
I think we talked about this about a month ago. They play. You know how the Ravens have that rough 10-day stretch?
Yeah.
Steelers 10-day stretch is they're on the road in Philly, they're on the road in Baltimore, and then 4 days later they play the Chiefs at home on Christmas Day. So
talk about you're going to get your ass whipped. If you win 2 out of those 3 games, that is a massive success because just the D lines you're going up against for those three games. I mean, is fucking brutal. Shame on the schedulers because we all respect the Steelers. We all being the 3 Ravens guys in this podcast respect the living hell out of the Steelers and the organization because it kind of mirrors the Ravens, and it's also 2 blue collar cities. That is a shame to you guys. Because you're going to get, those are rock fights. You're going to get punched in the mouth a ton.
But you guys have something similar, right? Like you have a 10-day stretch where you have some because you're playing on Christmas Day.
It's Christmas Day. It's 3 games in 11 days, I believe.
Yeah, not the extent of competition that you guys are about to go up against, but it's same scheduling issue for sure.
It's all for Hard Knocks.
Oh yeah,
Hard Knocks. It's not a coincidence that they backloaded the AFC North this year when they got
great call. I didn't even think about that because they're doing that AFC North Hard Knocks. That is damn it. I wish I would have thought of that.
First one comes out December 3rd. I think I saw.
Yeah, it is wild that we're this late in the season and Steelers haven't played 1 divisional game. That's just
outrageous. It's so stupid. I don't know.
I mean, Ravens have played 3. The Bengals have played. Shit. I don't know how many the Bengals. They've probably had 3 as well.
And I think
played
the Falcons
us twice, and I think they played the Browns once, right?
And I think the Falcons and Saints have played each other 9 times.
Yeah, feels like that.
Yeah, but the whole NFC South plays each other every week. That's what happens.
You yourselves down there.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Sussy Russi?
Like I said, early returns are great. I mean, it's crazy. People are talking about should you extend him now? It's like, come on, let's let the season play out, right? He said the other day on an interview he was doing with one of the football networks that he wants to play 5 more years. Good for him. I don't know what it's going to
He's
look
not
like
gonna.
next year.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Like I said, it's all the pre-snap stuff, and they actually, with Arthur Smith's offense, you could tell what was going on with Justin Fields earlier in the year, that they were basically dumbing it down. Tomlin was like, listen, dude, I know you can win us games, but I don't want you to lose us games. That's Tomlin's MO. He's like, you got a young quarterback in a new system. Don't turn the ball over. So all the pre-snap shit that Russ does, it's veteran, it's elite level stuff, right? Putting guys in certain positions to make plays, stuff you see with Lamar, stuff you see with the top end quarterback. So the fact that their offense is actually opened up now and they actually have a full playbook is exciting. Like I said, haven't had a quarterback that, can do this in a long time. So
Probably
it's
feels
early.
like we're over 30 points in a game too.
Yeah. I mean, and hell, last week, if Jalen Warren doesn't fumble at the goal line, they're over 30 again.
Yeah.
So like I said, optimism's high. Let's see him do it against some of these divisional teams, right? But so far, so good. I mean, I don't care how corny the guy is. If he wins football games, I don't give a shit, right? So they've been
All right. Well, sorry. Go ahead.
No, to say they're buying in with him too. Like you see the highlights of last week when, they drew that guy off sides on the 4th and 1. The whole fucking sideline, the entire team was dancing. Like they were all buying in, which is stuff you haven't seen in a while with them. And then they show you the highlights of him fighting with, his teammates in Denver, and it's like it's completely different. He's enjoying himself, and hopefully that ride continues for a little bit.
Winning is a beautiful deodorant.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, that being said, you're excited. Everything's positive in Steelers land. What do you have on this game? The line is 3.5. The over/under is 48.5. Do you expect a low-scoring game? Do you expect a high-scoring game? And do you think the Steelers can cover that 3.5? And do you think the Steelers are going to win this game? Go ahead. You go first, Chuck. You're our guest.
So I'm hoping that Tomlin doesn't live in he always says, don't live in your fears. I'm hoping Tomlin doesn't turn this into a typical Tomlin game where he wants to make it an ugly game, win it, 13-10, something stupid like that. Like, let your team play and see what happens. I expect it to be high scoring. I do think, I can't bet against the Steelers. I would take them outright. Kind of sucks that we're seeing this at a 1:00 kickoff. Would have thought they would have flexed it, but I think because the Steelers, because they're asking why didn't you flex it? CBS wanted to hold on to the Bills and Chiefs game, so this would have been the next best option. But I think because the Steelers turn around and play Thursday night,
you turn around and play Thursday,
yeah. I think they probably said, listen, let's not move them. But I'll take the Steelers. I'll take them outright, and I think it's going to be. I'll take the over in points too. I think it's going to be a high scoring game.
Which is weird to say. Weird to say from a.
It's weird to say. It could be an ugly game too. If Tomlin comes out and wants to play conservative, then it's going to be ugly. But yeah, I'm hoping that he's learned to trust Russ a little bit. And we'll see what happens.
Same for the Ravens. If we come out and decide we just want to shove it down your throat with Derrick Henry and keep the ball away from you guys, like I could definitely see that happening. Yeah, I mean, I don't know which way this game's going to go really. What's the like there's some terrible record right now. Like we're 1-7 in our last 8 games against them. I know Lamar only played in maybe half of them, if that.
Lamar's 1-4 against them in his career, I believe.
Yeah, but
he hasn't played a ton against the Steelers.
1-3.
Yeah, so he's played 4 of the 8 games, and we're 1-7 in the last 8, and then I think we're like 3-7 in the last 10 or something like that. So still not great, but it's finally nice to have hopefully a decently healthy team on both sides here to play in this game, so we can get an actual look at these teams instead of us either resting Lamar or Lamar being hurt or half of our team, all of our running backs being hurt, or the Steelers playing third string quarterbacks. So that'll be nice. But with that being said, I'm taking the Ravens. We gotta change the mojo here. Give me the Ravens, not only to cover, but I hope we win. This game I think is going to be a shootout as well. So,
Rogers,
I'm going the opposite of the two of you guys. I think this is going to be a low scoring game. I think this is going to be a ground and pound kind of game. and I'm calling this the Deontay Johnson Bowl.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
yeah, but I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I will actually take the Steelers. I believe the Ravens win the game, but by 1 point.
All right. I love that Deontay Johnson reference. Did you guys see Tomlin shitting all over Deontay Johnson in the press conference the other day? They asked him like, "Hey, what did you see of your former player Deontay Johnson?" He was just like, "Honestly, he hasn't come up once on film." For the
I mean,
Ravens.
is he wrong? I would much rather be
No,
worried
he's not
about Zay
wrong.
Flowers and all those
He's
guys,
not
so.
wrong, and he's a 100%. I thought it was hilarious. I love Mike Tomlin. I hate
So
him.
do I.
Obviously,
He's
I hate
phenomenal.
the Steelers. I hate the Steelers a lot less than I used to. But because they're so similar to us, I've started to appreciate them a lot more. But I love Mike Tomlin, and I thought that was hilarious. I mean, I'm going to take the Ravens here. You guys are expecting a shootout. Yeah, I am kind of too. And if you're going to tell me I get a shootout with Lamar Jackson against Russell Wilson, I'm taking Lamar Jackson huge. I don't think the Pittsburgh is going to be able to handle I just don't think Pittsburgh is going to be able to handle how much offense the Ravens are going to bring to the table. I know the Steelers defense will do a good job, and they've done a good job of shutting some good quarterbacks down this season, but they haven't played anybody like Lamar yet. And I just don't think Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris are going to be able to run the ball. It's going to have to be a lot of Pickens and Mike Williams and Calvin Austin. And our secondary is rough, but if you're telling me it's going to be a shootout, I'm taking Lamar big over Russell Wilson, like I said earlier. So give me the Baltimore Ravens -3.5.
And
The last few meaningful games the Ravens have played, and I say meaningful because sometimes we've already clinched a playoff berth and have no room for moving and seeding. All these games have been 3 points. Now, I understand that, the past is the past and you have to move forward. You live in the past, you die in the past. But these two teams are just so similar, and the mentality. And I mean, they call it Ravens Week and Steelers Week, the two teams. So this game is going to be a 1 or 2 point game.
yeah, I could definitely see that. I could definitely see it be low scoring as well.
What's going on with Tucker this year? Because that comes into play if it's a one score game.
I mean, straight up, Boswell's been better than him this year.
Without
so
doubt.
if you guys got the better kicker this year or this week.
We always joke about it. Like when we see Tucker miss a field goal, which was like once in a million times, right? It was always against somebody else besides the Steelers. Never in my life have I seen him miss a fucking kick against the Steelers. Doesn't matter how far it is. Doesn't matter how hard the wind's blowing. My brother and I will sit there and we're like, doesn't matter. He's gonna hit it, and it's gonna rip our hearts out.
I'll still have confidence. Like even if it comes down to that in this game, I'll still have confidence in Tucker. I think
the best kicker of all time.
I think he'll get up and make it.
Yeah.
But with that, we got our first call-ins of all time, and with that, I got to bring on our first channel member of all time. First, so Mr. Joe Radke, get him up on here.
What up, Joe?
What's up, Joe?
I can get him on the screen. There he is.
There he is.
What's up, Joe? How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. How y'all doing?
We're doing good, man.
How you doing down there in Arkansas?
I am doing fantastic. It is sunny and 75 right now, so
Oh
No.
my god,
kind of
I've
weird.
heard that song before.
it's gloomy and 55 in Ocean City.
It's probably going to rain and storm in an hour because you don't like the weather. Wait 5 minutes, but it is. First off, horns down. Fuck Texas.
Yeah, Joe's a big Arkansas fan, Chuck.
Oh, they play each other this weekend too.
Oh, they do?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Texas, Arkansas. Yep.
Oh, shit.
Oh shit! All
It's
right.
11 a.m. kick, so I may watch the game, but probably won't wake up till noon. So
Joe, what are your thoughts on the game coming up this week?
Yeah, Ravens Steelers. What do you got?
Well, I got the Ravens winning. I think it's going to be a tight game. Probably the lines are probably about right because they're usually around 3 points, 3 to 5 points. And weird shit happens in Pittsburgh when the Ravens and Steelers get together. So
That's for sure.
That is
something
100%
is
for
going to
sure.
happen. Whether Lamar throws a pick six and it comes back, whether there's a missed field goal that gets run back, something stupid is going to happen.
Mike Tomlin steps on the field and trips a kick returner. I mean,
That-
that's nothing big.
That was important.
I was at that game with my
I was at
uncle
that game
Bruce.
as well.
It was so cold.
Like it's just the way it happens. I did pick up Russell Wilson in the Holy Shirts and Pants Fantasy League because I don't trust our secondary, and I'm trying for a four-game win streak here.
Oh shit!
Joe beat me this week by 0.12.
I
You
did.
deserved it.
It was,
Fucking ridiculous, man.
I
I
couldn't.
can't win. I can't win in any of my leagues. I feel like
As Dom Toretto would say, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning.
Did
That's
you
right.
just quote Fast and Furious?
Yes, I did. The first one. The first one.
Fast and Furious.
The greatest movie franchise of all time.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Outside of sports, we don't call racing street racing a sport. So
Yeah.
Rocky probably is better than Fast and Furious, but outside of sports, got to be
Yeah.
Fast and
Joe, do you respect the Steelers, or you just want to? I mean, are you a guy who's just like fuck them? I can't be friends with anybody or can't respect them.
Oh yeah, I respect them. They're a great franchise. I mean, anybody that's only had three head coaches in the whole time, and sticks with their coach, good times, bad times. You got to respect a franchise like that. The owner coming up with the Rooney Rule. I mean, that's pretty big for football. You got to respect that.
yeah. I mean, since Baltimore's come into existence here after the Colts left, we've kind of modeled our franchise after Pittsburgh. So
Yeah.
How can you not respect who we're? I mean, obviously we have some differences, but I mean, essentially we're pretty damn the same, really, in that aspect.
Yeah. Well, Joe, thank you for coming on, man, and thanks for talking. You have anything else you want to say before we switch over to Antonio here?
I was at the very first Steelers Ravens game at Memorial Stadium. It was fantastic.
Yeah, who won that game?
I think the Ravens won.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And those terrible uniforms. Those terrible uniforms.
We were in the AFC Central, maybe.
Yeah.
Yep.
we were.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I guess
exactly.
we're Central before the South, right?
The very first game was the Raiders. I think my mom went to that one. We only had 2 tickets, but yeah, that was fun.
Hey, Joe, before you go, and I want to say thank you so much for your loyalty, being the first subscriber, just hanging out, always commenting, having a blast. Cheers to you, beers to you. And then, we really do appreciate it because, like we always say, dude, we suck at this shit. But I mean, we like having fun, and we appreciate you coming on, having a good time, rocking the O's hat. I'm sitting here, I look like a freaking Easter egg. But did you ever get your care package? And if you haven't, I'm resending one today.
No, it never came.
Okay, I got you then. I mean, I'll send everything again. I hope it didn't get stolen, but I definitely sent it. I'll look at the tracking number for you as well. And I'll keep in contact with you, all right?
Yeah, no problem. And I'll come back next time, man. I got story time with Joe ready to go.
Giddy up.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks,
We
buddy.
go, baby.
Appreciate it, man. All right, we're gonna switch over here. We have our buddy Antonio, who you might recognize from the other day at Chesapeake Wine Company. He's gonna come on and talk for a minute. Antonio, what's going on, dude? How you doing?
Hey, buddy.
Hi, how you guys doing?
What's up,
Doing
man?
well.
TGIF.
Oh, yeah. We always see you on Fridays, I guess.
Yeah, I guess Fridays is our new thing with Antonio. Fridays with
Yeah.
Antonio.
My score prediction is Ravens 33, Steelers 28. Go Ravens.
There
And
you
that's
go.
all I have for you guys.
That's
He's
all
got
you
a
got.
shootout.
All right.
He's got a
There you
shootout.
go.
How your
I
mom
love
and dad doing?
I'll see you guys next time.
All right,
buddy.
Antonio.
Take care, Antonio.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for coming on. 33-28. You heard it from Antonio's mouth. He's expecting a high-scoring game. Yeah, I love it. He thinks the Ravens are going to cover, so I'm a big fan of that. I'm going to have money on that. So,
He might, if we win 33-28, Antonio, we might just need to put him in our pocket and take him to every Ravens game, home Ravens game.
Oh yeah.
Chuck, I'm as a Ravens fan, I'm probably going to be putting in a stupid same game parlay Is there a guy I should be targeting on the Ravens to have a big week against the Steelers? Maybe Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry. Is there a weakness in your defense? And if there is, who would it be? Who are you most scared of as a Steelers fan?
Based on what McLaurin did to Joey Porter last week, he struggles with the little shifty guys. So Zay Flowers, I think, could have a big week as long as Joey doesn't just keep holding him and getting called for pass interference, because that'll take away from some of your yards. But
yeah,
Joey does pretty well when the refs let him. He gets handsy. He plays physical. When he plays the taller, stronger receivers, he does pretty well. But these short, shifty guys, I think Zay Flowers could have a big week. I'm kind of scared of him. He can always hit a home run too.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry's going to have 80 to 100 yards. Hopefully, if they hold him to 80 yards, that's a good day, I think, in my book. I'm scared of him breaking one of those runs late in like the fourth quarter, hitting a home run for 75 yards, which is wild. I mean, the fact that human being can run that fast straight line speed is just, it's not fair.
Yeah.
I think Zay Flowers is the one that I'm probably most concerned about.
How are you guys?
Deontay Johnson, they're hoping that he drops a big pass at some point in the game in the stadium, basically just to close on him, because they won't let him hear the end of it if that happens.
I mean, at this point, he's our fourth string receiver. I think Nelson Aguilar is getting more snaps than him, especially the last couple of weeks, and he should at this point. We gave up a bag of peanuts for him, so if he ends up sucking, whatever. We can both collectively hate Deontay Johnson as a.
See, I never really hated. I always loved watching him play, but apparently somebody talked about it the other day. One of the reporters, they're like, he's a great human being, just a shitty teammate. And even down in Carolina, he turned into a shitty teammate. And it's like, that won't last long in Baltimore. They'll get rid of him real quick.
No, yeah, they'll just.
So
somebody will either set him straight, and if that doesn't work, then he's gone.
What's the How are you guys with tight ends this year? Has any tight end kind of lit you up, or you? Do you think Mark Andrews? I don't know if Isaiah Likely is playing. He was hurt last week. Do you guys match up? Do you guys match up well against tight ends? I guess Patrick Queen, we're probably going to see a lot of him. Like you mentioned, Deshaun Elliott and Micah Fitzpatrick. That's usually who handles the tight ends, the linebackers and the safeties.
They match up better now than they used to. Historically, the Ravens would just attack the middle of the field with their tight ends, right?
Yeah.
Steelers used to be a little slow in the middle of the defense because they were worried about stopping the run. That's what I was saying with Peyton Wilson. Ever since he's come in, I don't know if you know much about him, but he's their rookie linebacker at NC State.
I was going to say, I remember that guy. He was the top linebacker on a lot of boards, but he fell to the third round, right?
Yeah, because he doesn't have an ACL. But he's a freak athlete, and it depends on what's going on. So the personnel for the Ravens, if they're going to run, Landon Roberts will be out there because he runs downhill and he's our run stopper. If they're going to spread it out, Peyton Wilson will follow tight ends around the field. You got your safety. You got Cam Sutton back now. So they match up pretty well now with Mark Andrews compared to, prior years. So he isn't my biggest concern anymore. It used to always be the tight ends that I was worried about with the Ravens.
Was really for a while.
Well, for a while, it was like we're sitting there watching the game. Mark Andrews would have 14 targets, 13 catches, and we're sitting there double, triple team the guy. They had no one else at the time. It's like they're going to throw the ball to fucking Mark Andrews. Everybody in the stadium knows it, and he still comes down with it. So, I don't know. Honestly, like I said, they have speed and they got playmakers now in the middle of the field. So they cover well. They cover well when it comes to the tight end. So we'll see.
I can see Keaton Mitchell this week breaking one off of a screen or a little arrow route.
So you're telling me to start him in fantasy this week? I've been stashing him on my IR the entire year.
Absolutely do not start him while Derrick Henry is alive.
Don't start him yet, but I mean, he's going to get more and more carries as the season goes on here.
Over Justice Hill?
Yeah.
They'll start pulling
some point
from Henry. Actually, I think they're gonna rest him a little bit.
I would say at some point
on a pitch clock or a pitch count.
At some point, the Hill reps are going to start going to Keaton a little bit, and at some point the Derrick Henry reps are going to get smaller, I would imagine, as the season goes along, especially if the Ravens are in a good position record-wise. They're gonna kind of keep him on ice until the playoffs a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit.
Yeah.
I believe this is going to be a massive Derrick Henry game with a lot of carries because in order to negate TJ Watt, you need to run the ball directly at him. It's what people used to do to his brother, JJ Watt. If you had a big back, you ran at him. That way he cannot get a pass rush, and you have some other guy – not chip block him, but at least get some kind of push, getting that person going the other way. I think Derrick Henry's going to run whatever side TJ Watt's on. When he gets the ball, he's going to run that direction.
Yeah, and to your point, Brian,
TJ always lines up on the right side, right? If you're on the offensive side,
he's over the right tackle. Yeah,
he's
gonna be
always
on
over the right tackle. Correct. Yeah.
They started switching it up a little bit this year. They've been moving him around. They did it in a couple games, so we'll see how that plays out. But teams, you're right, Brian. If you're going to run right at him. Teams try to run away from him, and he chases plays down from the backside better than anybody in football. And it's just wear him down, beat him up. But it is nice they finally have depth at the outside linebacker position.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I honestly, I don't know what to expect. You never know what to expect in these damn games. You can analyze it all you want, but you throw all that shit out the window when they kick it off on Sunday.
Yeah, I'd love to see a lot of Henry as well. I could see a lot of Henry in this game, and then after this game, after he's probably going to get pretty beat up in this game. Usually tends to happen. And then after this game is probably going to be when you see his carries start diminishing a little bit, just to
I agree.
Get him feeling a little bit better, because I'm sure he's going to be a little bruised up after this one.
Without a doubt. And I mean, I can even see him being a scratch one time with those 3 games in 10 days.
I think you're right.
I did see a fucking ridiculous statistic that I actually double checked to make sure it was real. Derrick Henry has more rushing yards than 23 of the NFL teams this season.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
Is that good?
Ridiculous. What's high score mean? Did I break it?
He had more touchdowns than like 6 teams for a while this year.
Yeah, he's
like almost halfway through the season.
He's been a welcome addition, and like Chuck said, he's always got that 75-yard run in his back pocket. It seems like sometimes like he can have 20 carries for like 45 yards, and they just keep plodding, and then all of a sudden he just busts one, and that's so valuable because that drive is over immediately once he does it. Like the momentum is completely swung in our favor. A couple of housekeeping notes. T. Higgins, according to Zach Taylor, T. Higgins is expected to play this weekend against the Chargers. So I don't know if that changes your guys' thoughts on that game, but he has missed the last 3 games with a quad injury. He will be playing, it looks like. Dalton Kincaid and Amari Cooper and starting right tackle Spencer Brown are all out for the Buffalo Bills against the Chiefs this week. Sean McDermott said on WGR 550, which is a local Bills radio station. So they're going to be missing 2 of their top pass catchers in Kincaid and Cooper, and also their starting right tackle against the Chiefs. The Chiefs also do not have Harrison Butlicker. He has been put on IR. He has been replaced by former Colts kicker, I believe, Spencer Schrader. And he just got signed from the Jets practice squad. Yeah. Just a couple housekeeping things that I wanted to bring you guys.
Josh Allen throwing to besides here in Dalton Knox, really, I guess. No, Dalton Knox is not there anymore.
Dawson Knox is still there. It sounds like somebody's in a hurricane, so I'm going to mute Chuck here. Okay. It's going to be Khalil Shakir, Dawson Knox, and it looks like Keon Coleman's going to be a game time. Actually, no, Keon Coleman's out. So Keon Coleman, Amari Cooper, all.
Did you have this information earlier?
No, I just got it. Adam Schefter just tweeted this stuff within the last hour.
Any Jalen Warren update? Because that's a big one to watch for Ravens fans. Jalen Warren's our home run hitter. He got hurt this week in practice.
Yeah, what's going on? So Jalen Warren, by all accounts of the Steelers fans that I've talked to and know, Jalen Warren is like a hero and Najee Harris is a 0. What's going on with that? Do you think they're going to keep like splitting carries evenly, or do you think Jalen Warren's going to take that job?
Nah, they'll keep. I mean, Najee's playing great this year. It's probably the best he's looked. Yeah, it's probably the best he's looked. The long-term plan. Jalen Warren's going to be the running back next year. Najee's going to go somewhere else. Somebody's going to give him a lot of money. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option. Najee's always been great. I mean, he's had 1,000 yards every year so far. He's been with the Steelers.
Offensive line's been the problem, you think, more than him?
No, he doesn't look explosive like he did in Alabama. He doesn't hit the home run. Everybody was hoping he'd be like Derrick Henry, right? Same mold. They thought big back, make one cut, hit a 75-yarder. It looks like the guy's running in combat boots half the time once he gets 15, 20 yards down the field. Yeah. So
he's running.
I mean, he's been running hard this year, and everybody likes him, but they just don't see. I mean, today's NFL, you no longer drafting running backs in the first round. You're not paying them a ton of money. Like it's Jalen Warren came in last year undrafted, and the guy, even Patrick Queen said it, everybody on the Ravens hated playing him because he's tough, he's fast, he's a great pass blocker. So there's a couple times where
I was like, why is Jalen Warren not the lead back? Because he looks so much better than Naj last year. But this year's different. I get it. But yeah, last year I was like, man, this guy's a spark plug.
He's been dealing with soft tissue injuries all year. A lot of those in the Steelers camp. It's weird. They got a new strength guy from Boston College, probably one of Mike Tomlin's friends, and brought him in. And Russ, hurting his calf, doing the blocking sled as a starting quarterback. It's just weird shit happened so far this year. Warren suffered some soft tissue injuries, so he hasn't been the same as he was last year. But he looked good last week, aside from the fumble at the goal line. But we'll see. I mean,
little trivia for you boys. Pittsburgh trivia. Chuck, if you know the answer right off the top of your head, I'm going to give it to Brooks and Dustin. But if you don't, then you're part of it. Where did Mike Tomlin go to school? College?
I know. Should I say it?
I don't know.
Chuck, you know?
Oh, yeah. I'll let Brooks have it, though. And for extra credit, who was his college teammate?
I know this one. Shit.
Shit. He went to William and Mary.
Yep. William and Mary.
College teammate was
it's a current NFL coach.
Sean McVay.
No, you got the right first name.
Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott.
Yeah.
Peyton. DBs, right?
Sean Payton.
No, Sean McDermott.
McDermott.
Yeah, they played at William and Mary together. Which is
The
weird.
only thing
Tomlin was a wide receiver in college, and he's supposed to be a defensive guru. It's just weird how that works, right?
Only thing I know about William and Mary is that they beat the Terps one year, and Will Bowers looked like a complete piece of mess. In that game, Will Bowers went to Spalding, which is a local high school. If you're familiar with Baltimore sports, guys,
bring up Will Bowers on this Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture podcast ever again.
All right,
the guy frosted his tips.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Dave Neal's talking. Dave Neal talk only. We'll talk Dave Neal. By the way, huge Terps game tonight against number 15 Marquette. Shaka Smart led Marquette in College Park, I believe, tonight. So if you're a Terps fan, you should be watching tonight. It's going to be fun to watch freshman Derek Queen against Marquette.
How do they look this year?
Is it on major television? 2
or 3-0, but they played Mount St. Mary's and like some other bullshit.
Manhattan,
yeah. It should be on TV. I believe it's on the Big Ten Network, but let me check that while if you guys want to talk about anything else.
I'm going to be watching the fight tonight. I'm going to be watching the Tyson Jake Paul fight tonight. I think this is going to be absolute dog shit. But I'm going to watch a train wreck with a baby on fire at the same time. It's going to be absolutely great to watch, and I'm going to laugh at it the entire time. So I'm watching a debate with boxing gloves.
FS1 at 8:00, by the way. FS1.
Thanks,
so
man.
Everyone has that.
Why does everyone hate Jake Paul so much?
I don't. I think he's an absolute master at making people dislike him and making money. I think it's awesome. I don't give a shit who wins this fight. I just want to watch it because I think it's so good to see Mike Tyson back in the ring and see Jake Paul, who's not really a boxer, but has had some serious success against lower level fighters.
I guess he keeps winning.
It's Logan Paul. It's right.
Oh, Logan Paul. My bad.
Yeah, isn't Jake Paul the one that's in the WWE?
He's in the WWE.
No, it's the opposite. Logan's in the WWE. Jake is boxing.
Stupid.
Jake's the one boxing. Yeah, Jake's the one with the crazy haircut and all that.
I'm stupid. You're smart. I'm not very good looking. You are incredibly attractive. I'm sorry. I messed up.
Yeah, I mean, when are people going to start giving him a little bit of credit? The guy just keeps. I mean, who people won't accept a fight against him, and then when he does get somebody decent and he beats them, they're like, "Oh, well, he wasn't that good anyway." It's well, he keeps beating people that you say he's not going to beat, and you say he's a clown, but he keeps crushing these people. So,
yeah.
Joe Racky says he missed Hulk Hogan by 15 seconds last night. Joe Racky, we need story time with Joe soon because I need to hear that story. That's
badly.
If you missed Hulk Hogan in any situation by 15 seconds, that's just a dagger.
It's still real to me, damn it.
That's just a dagger. Anyway, that has been another episode of Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture. Guys, thank you very much for coming on. Chuck, good luck to your Steelers the rest of the season, but obviously not this weekend. And we will see you later down the road, maybe in the playoffs.
Yeah. Chuck, thanks so much, man. I say
every time we do this,
I do this podcast with my friends because it's mental health. They help me out so much. We get to bring on great people like Chuck, Antonio, Joe. We have great times. There's been a lot of people that have helped other people because they watch this podcast and us Jabberwockies do stupid stuff and talk about stupid shit. But talk to a friend, be a good friend, be awesome to everyone around you. I mean, hell, even answer numbers that you don't even know on your phone. All right. So
Can't do that.
Yeah, well, I love you guys. Thank you so much. And hope everyone has a good weekend and go Ravens.
All right. Love you, boys.
Thanks,
See ya.
buddy.
Boys,
Yep,
cheers,
have a good
y'all.
one.